What up, what up, what up, what up? You already know what it is. You have just entered the war zone. Now, we have some explosive information to give you today. We have the Somalis out there in Minnesota just running amok. We have breaking news. The Somalis in Minnesota, the fraud scheme has ballooned to $9 billion. You heard that right, $9 billion. Now, what will our government do about this? We are talking about numbers to the scale of almost touching the sky, astronomical numbers, to where US dollars from SNAP has went out of the country. We're talking about, we are at 9 billion right now and counting. Let's look at a few clips to dive further into what's going on. We're going to go further on. We're going to dive into our dear President Donald Trump banning additional countries from entering the U.S. There's a full travel ban that's been issued to additional Islamic countries. And you have the Pan-Africanists like Dr. Umar panicking right now. We're going to get into that too. Dr. Umar has responded, and now he's speaking about Donald Trump now. We're going to get into that also. Pan-Africanists are panicking. Let's get into what's going on.
The Somali fraud scandal in Minnesota just exploded to over $9 billion. Over $1 billion of fraud has already been uncovered, but now investigators suspect that over half of the $18 billion paid into these programs was fraudulent. This is no longer just a massive case of welfare fraud. It is now one of the largest fraud schemes perpetrated in American history. As always, like the video and subscribe to the channel, but let's start by hearing this massive development.
Learning the Feeding Our Future case was just the tip of the iceberg for fraud in Minnesota.
Now, that is according to federal prosecutors who shared staggering new numbers today. As So Young Kim reports, more than half of $18 billion spent on Medicaid programs in Minnesota could be fraudulent payments.
The U.S. Attorney's Office had warned about the iceberg of fraud they saw ahead earlier this year. Now prosecutors are giving a sense of just how big the problem could be.
What we see in Minnesota is not a handful of bad actors committing crimes. It's a staggering industrial scale fraud.
Federal prosecutors say they're just getting started looking into Minnesota's social services fraud schemes. Officials say they flagged similar patterns of explosive growth in those programs. According to the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, the 14 Medicaid programs at the center of investigations in Minnesota have cost $18 billion since 2018 overall. Prosecutors say they aren't able to put a final figure to the scale or portion.
Wait, hold on. Let me hear that again. What she just said?
explosive growth in those programs. According to the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, the 14 Medicaid programs at the center of investigations in Minnesota have cost $18 billion since 2018 overall. Prosecutors say they aren't able to put a final figure to the scale or portion of fraud in the state, but Assistant U.S. Attorney Joe Thompson says he suspects it could be in the ballpark of $9 billion or more.
I don't make these generalizations in a hasty way. So
now keep in mind, people, this is a smaller state. It's not large. Keep in mind, think about how many of this type of activities are going on in the larger sanctuary cities. Let's go. Smack that like button there, people. Let's go.
When I say significant amount, I'm talking in the order of half or more, but we'll see. When I look at the claims data and the providers, I see more red flags than I see legitimate providers.
The massive scale of this fraud, coupled with the fact that 90% of people arrested and charged have been Somali, actually exposes a structural problem that is much larger than just the Somali community. It reveals the failures of our immigration policy broadly and the forced government incompetence in the name of woke ideology and political correctness. Whistleblowers made Tim Walz aware of these red flags years ago, yet it was intentionally swept under the rug due to a climate that prevented criticism of any person who was non-white. Any singling out of a group that was non-white, especially non-white and immigrant, was met with harsh condemnation of racism and bigotry. And that pressure was so strong that the ringleader of the Feeding Our Future scam used that in court. She told the judge that the fraud investigation into her organization was racially motivated because they just so happened to work with the Somali community. And so the judge ordered the funds to be turned back on, and the fraud was able to continue. People were forced to ignore facts and evidence and data if it pointed to a group of people that the cultural climate deemed a protected class. Now let's hear from the investigator how this fraud worked and how it was able to get so massive.
Today we unsealed charges against the second defendant charged in the case, Adni Najib Hassan Youssef, who owns Star Autism Center in St. Cloud, Minnesota. Mr. Youssef, like others involved in the autism scheme, paid kickbacks to parents to have their children diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder.
Think about this scheme that's going on right now. Think about the kickbacks that's going on. Think about the kickbacks that's happening and given to these politicians and to voters, potentially. Let's go.
And enrolled to receive EIDBI services at his autism center. Based on these fraudulent claims for services that were not provided, and in many cases were not needed, he received more than $6 million in Medicaid funds. He used some of those proceeds to purchase a semi-truck for $100,000, and he also sent more than $200,000 to Kenya.
So they were setting up autism clinics and recruiting members of their community to fraudulently sign up their children for these services. Now, you can't...
And that's what we have. We have the Somali community in Minnesota committing astronomical fraud. Over here, claiming that the blacks are lazy, claiming that the blacks don't want to work, claiming that whites are being discriminative to them, making whites basically come up out of their buildings, come up out of their towns, making the blacks basically move over politically, move over, within their community regarding housing. All right, it's becoming a bit overwhelming. We have migrants flowing in from everywhere. Everywhere you look, it's just unbelievably un-American right now. Okay, we have massive fraud going on, man. Massive fraud going on. all over America. You have, check this out. It's not just happening here in America, it's happening all over the world. Check this out. Check out this fight.
The same rhetoric about Polish immigrants in and media there. They say the Poles are groping women, they're feckless, they're criminals, they won't integrate. Don't you see the irony or the hypocrisy of treating Muslim immigrants to Poland in the same way that some Britons treat Polish immigrants? Okay, how many Poles blow themselves up in London or any other place in the world? That's the question I keep repeating. There is a lot of crime carried out by Polish immigrants, according to...
Yeah, crime and blowing yourself up is incredibly different.
I mean, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I be asking myself. And what's going on, Morgan Chandler? What's happening? Morgan, what's going on? Thank you so much, Morgan. Morgan Chandler, that's what I be asking myself. These are simple questions. And then, I mean, the response to these simple questions are just hilarious. It's hilarious when you sit back and look at it. Watch his response to when he says, well, you're dealing with people that wants to come in and just take themselves out. All right. How do you defend that? And this is what these people somehow find a way to do.
Rhetoric about Polish immigrants in the UK. That you say you don't want Muslim immigrants in your country because they commit crimes, there's a security threat, and yet you hear exactly the same rhetoric about Polish immigrants in the UK from right-wing politicians and media there. They say the Poles are groping women, they're feckless, they're criminals, they won't integrate. Don't you see the irony or the hypocrisy of treating Muslim immigrants to Poland in the same way that some Britons treat Polish immigrants? Okay, how many Poles blow themselves up in London or any other place in the world? That's the question I keep repeating. There is a lot of crime carried out by Polish immigrants, according to...
That's right.
Yeah, crime and blowing yourself up is incredibly different. Hi guys, this is Sahar TV, and in today's video we'll watch Mehdi Hassan talking to a European Parliament member, Dominic Tarczynski, about his issues with Islam.
Middle East. White people fine, brown people not fine. There's a word for that, isn't there, Dominic?
I just finished developing the first stock trading tool of its kind, designed to help you dial up or
Good evening. Thank you for having me. It has nothing to do with your color. It has not brown Muslim refugees from the Middle East. White people fine, brown people not fine. There's a word for that, isn't there, Dominic? Good evening. Thank you for having me. It has nothing to do with your color. It has nothing to do with the religion. I keep repeating it for the last 4 or 5 years. It's all about safety and the common sense. It's not about Ukrainians who are allowed to come to Poland. It's about illegal migrants who wants to cross our borders. And if you're brown, white, yellow, or whatever, if you want to cross our border illegally, you're not allowed. We are reacting. Well, first of all, plenty of people are coming into Europe legally as asylum seekers. You have a legal right to asylum from places like Syria. But you say it's not about religion. You said, quote, we will not receive even one Muslim because this is what we promised. You didn't say illegal immigrants. You said we will not receive even one Muslim.
That's correct. That leader, he's a smart leader. If he wants his country intact, he's going to do everything in his power to keep this particular group out of his nation. How about this particular group stay in their nations? I mean, don't they have so much land? I mean, their land is ginormous. Why are they deflecting their own land? I'm Please help me understand that. Smack that like button there, people. Help me understand that.
It has nothing to do with the Muslim religion. It's not Islamophobia as someone's trying to tell us. It's all about this moment and this fact that at 2015, Angela Merkel started this madness. And now this is a problem about Muslims mainly coming to Europe. I'm surprised they are not going to Saudi Arabia, Qatar, or any other rich Muslim countries. They would
Right. What, I mean, what the freak? Absolutely. He is hitting it on the nose. Morgan Chandler is hitting it dead on the nose. Morgan Chandler said, it's an unfortunate thing. Some may be peaceful, but it's a chance not worth taking. Why are we taking it? And then it's not like the peaceful Muslims are running up and protesting against these people who are coming to inflict harm on nations all over the world, right? We don't see an uprising in that. And it's supposed to be many more peaceful of them, of that particular group than the people who's looking to cause harm. So help me understand that.
feel much better, isn't it? You say Angela Merkel and her madness.
He is hitting it dead on the nose. This guy is hitting it smack on the nose. What is he talking about? He's telling you it's not about religion. It's not about religion. It's not about religion with me. It's not, I'm sure not about religion with most Black Americans. We're not thinking about a religion. We're thinking about what you are, the activities that you bring in with the cloak of this religion that you claim. Okay, that's what it's about. But this guy is hitting it on the nose.
Mainly coming to Europe. I'm surprised they are not going to Saudi Arabia, Qatar, or any other rich Muslim countries. They would feel much better, isn't it?
Right.
You say Angela Merkel and her madness.
Right.
I mean, Angela Merkel followed the law. The EU has law. Arabia, Qatar, or any other.
I want to hear with this answer. I want to hear his response on this because, I mean, come on.
Rich Muslim countries, they would feel much better, isn't it? You say Angela Merkel and her madness. I mean, Angela Merkel followed the law. The EU has law. There's a refugee convention. There's a Universal Declaration of Human Rights. The EU Advocate General, which advises the European Court of Justice, found this week that your country broke EU law in 2015 when Poland refused to share the refugee burden. So it's your country, your government, Dominic, that's undermining European values, European laws, not immigrants.
We are sick. You know what? You know what, man? Just rip up the paperwork because we're tired of the treaty refugee, man. For the refugees and the treaties with we're tired of that. We're tired of it. We're tired of it. One day, laws are made to be amended. New laws are, able to come into formation, which is a beautiful thing. And we cannot allow this, okay? We just can't allow this, okay? Either you're going to come into our country and you're going to assimilate or you're going to go home. And the thing is, I mean, if you step into anybody's house, even if you go into a family member's house, you're going to have to assimilate. It's just the bottom line.
It's not refugees, not Muslims. No, not at all. This judgment was not about Poland only. It was about Hungary and others. And also, this judgment, this sentence was about all countries which did not fulfill the expectations. You have to remember that the quota system, which failed, was very clear about the numbers. So even Germany and France did not receive as many as they should. For us, that was very clear. In 2015, we promised that we will never agree for the quota system, and our promises are kept. The whole migration crisis, it's a global thing.
It's a global
Europe
thing.
is not responsible for what is happening in Syria. Poland is not responsible for what is happening in Iraq, in Syria, in other places.
Right.
We never had any colonies.
Right.
So if this problem is a global problem,
Right.
Where is Saudi Arabia? Where is Qatar? Where are the other Arab countries?
Hey, dude is cooking. He said, we haven't had any colonies. Dude cooking. He said, we haven't had, come on. Poland never went over there and invaded anybody. This is what he's claiming. Now, how are you over here calling us Islamophobes and all of this? How are you doing that? How? How are you calling the black nation here in America Islamophobic? How dare you? How dare you? We are so offended by that. We are so offended here in America by you claiming that blacks, when blacks literally fought for you to get out of all of your Muslim nations, literally, you wouldn't even have immigration all over the world if it wasn't for blacks standing up, fighting for you to pop out of your nations. This is unbelievable. This is a global thing, and we are not with it. China is even, Japan is even standing up. Me personally, I would like to adopt a lot of Japan's immigration policies, for real. Okay, you must assimilate. Japan is not allowing you to go into their borders, extract from them, send back to your nation. That's not happening with Japan. To stop that will stop. And they've been doing a good job in how they've been treating their immigration policy. However, they're getting much stricter on their policies when it comes to people coming in attempting to want to assimilate with the Japanese. They're not with that. And we need to be like that. We cannot do it. It's too much. It's too much. It's way it's run its course already. We're done. We're done with it. You know what I'm saying? So check this out. Check $9 billion. Unbelievable. So check this out. Look how many Muslims are coming out of this mosque. Okay, check this out. This is how many Muslims are coming out of this mosque right here. All right, I told you I would get you footage about how many Muslims are coming out, but there was even more than what I'm showing you, right? But check this out. I turned down the sound, but look at that. You're not going to tell me that all of these people are legal citizens. Look at that. You're not going to tell me all of those people were legal, right? It's getting real in the field. It really, really is. And you must be alert and aware of what's going on around you. All right? Now this judge, check this out. This judge, radical judges going crazy. I'm loving this too. I'm sitting back with my popcorn loving this. Look at these radical judges.
Case against Judge Dugan, who's charged with obstructing a federal investigation, concealing Flores. Dugan outside her courtroom April 18th, wearing her black robes, appearing to confront several federal agents there to arrest Eduardo Flores Ruiz, a Milwaukee man and Mexican national charged locally with 3 counts of domestic battery. This video, released by Milwaukee County through an open records request, is part of the evidence in the case against Judge Dugan, who's charged with obstructing a federal investigation, concealing Flores Ruiz, allowing him to leave her courtroom by a different door after sending the agents to speak to the chief judge. Flores Ruiz, dressed in black with his attorney, is seen in several of the videos leaving by that other door, one prosecutors say was used by jurors and not open to the public. As he leaves, though, he is seen in the hallway, followed by another agent. As Flores Ruiz gets into the elevator to leave, the agent slips in as well. According to the criminal complaint against Dugan, that agent followed them down. The agent seen here following out of the building downstairs, and once backup arrived, they tried to arrest Flores Ruiz, who another video shows ran north in front of the courthouse for nearly a block before agents caught up with him and arrested him. Federal agents arrested Dugan herself.
This has got to be one of the craziest stories, probably in American judge history. I mean, this is insane, right? We got the results. Things are happening. Again, the feds, she's definitely, I mean, we're talking about guilty. We're talking about federal prison. But the fact of the matter is that video is actually insane. When you think about the circumstances, you think about exactly what she was trying to accomplish and what she even said got her to that point where she, again, is trying to be the hero. She wants to be the save him. She wants to save him. And ladies and gentlemen, I mean, this is just crazy. Let's continue on to hear exactly what her reasoning behind this was.
Federal agents arrested Dugan herself a week later.
Eduardo Flores Ruiz's domestic violence case is moving through the Milwaukee County Court. He is, however, in federal custody on his immigration arrest. The FBI arrested Judge Dugan at the county courthouse 1 week later on April 25th. She pleaded not guilty in...
Not guilty? She pleaded not guilty, and she testified herself as well. So here we go. This is what the courtroom looked like. I mean, she literally thought she was going to catch a break because she was a judge in a blue area, but it just looks like it backfired on her big time. So she was found not guilty of misdemeanor charge, but she was found guilty of felony obstruction, which again requires fed time and a big fine. But what exactly is going to happen? Well, that's going to be up to what. So the judge is about to get some big felony time, you know, right now. And her max is 5 years. And this is unprecedented. This has never happened. I've never seen a judge go out their way, stand up in court, argue against the United States of America for a black man or woman. I have never get up, get mad that the police, regardless to what her judgment said, got mad that the police, which is ICE, came in to detain this criminal from a foreign land, came in to detain this guy. And the judge got into the middle of them, somehow made it to where the criminal basically was exited out the back door, and the judge went and distracted the ICE agents. Okay, so you cannot make this stuff up. The guy gets out of the courthouse. But however, there was one ICE agent that was tailing him the whole time. Even went into the elevator, went with the criminal from a foreign land. Went into the elevator with him, went out of the building, and then the backup team came in and attempted to apprehend this fleeing criminal from a foreign land. And this guy ran, they caught him, and now they have him detained. Now they have him locked up. And also, they now just locked up the judge, and she has been arraigned, and she's been convicted of a harsher crime or a harsher charge, and the lesser charge has been basically dropped. So this judge has to serve basically, she is a minimum of 5 years, and it's going to be up to the Attorney General Pam Bondi to make that distinction of whether she should get a lot of time on that or basically give her a slap on the wrist. And I don't think Pam Bondi's DOJ is inclined to hand her a slap on the wrist, okay? Because this is unprecedented. You must make a grave example of this and nip this in the bud. You have to stop this. The thing is, I've never seen any judges step out their way for any black people. This is how you know this is totally money motivated. All right, these people are being shoved money all over. They're just being took to the back, talked to, and handed a big sack of money. And these judges are going, okay? I'm telling you, it's very, very easy for these judges to go, okay? They're going, all right? The thing is, America, you know, I like what Chandler said. He said, you know, it's our differences that make us great. And that's so much the truth, all right, here in America. And that's what it is, you know, and a lot of people resent not being American and, you know, they resent being who they are, you know, but want to come over here and be proud of who they are, you know. So that is something that's something that we need to keep an eye on about these people. So check this out.
Let's just say Elon Umar, Minneapolis, Tim Walz, they had a failed day when Kamala and Biden was in office. I mean, those Somalian thieves stole so much money, over $400 million was transferred and Biden was in office. I mean, those Somalian thieves stole so much money. Elon Umar, Minneapolis, Tim Walz, they had a failed day when Kamala and Biden was in office. I mean,
the thing is, a lot of people are under the illusion that black people or black women are basically bought off and they don't know what's going on and they tricked. And these, you know, these black women are waking up. A lot of them are waking up, and a lot of them did not fall for the trick. A lot of them did not vote, and that's why Kamala did not win.
And those Somalian thieves stole so much money, over $400 million was transferred into Al-Qaeda terrorist groups account. I don't know what's taking America so long to lock these people up. We gotta lock them up. Gotta put them in jail for a long time. Especially when I seen this man over here, he was running for Minneapolis for mayor. And he was at the podium and he was like, Somalia, walaikum salam. I was like, who in the world? Oh my Lord, do you see his teeth and his ears? He looked like a thief. He looked like if you turn your head for one moment, your jewelry will be stolen, gone. Okay? You can't trust them thieves nowhere. One thing about the radical left, they gonna steal, rob, execute, and whoever gets in their way of their objective will have to be sacrificed. She had a nerve to tell her party to impeach Donald Trump. Excuse me? Whole time she's stealing from America. And let's not forget, she hates America. It's so funny how they run into politics all the time and they get the jobs as for the seats. They really do. Meanwhile, they hate America and they always steal. They get their hands on that budget and they steal. This is how I know that DSA movement, it ain't gonna work out. They're gonna be stealing left to right. Oh, they got a plan to get that security clearance and get their hands on that budget. And you better believe they're going to be stealing left to right. So it's time to lock her up, put her in jail. Whoever her constituents is, send them all to prison. All of them going to jail. They all stealing. All they do is rob, steal, and end people's lives. Get them out of here. You know, hopefully Trump start making some other bold moves, start banning those terroristic groups, stop allowing them people to run for office. There's got to be some things that got to be established, you know, while he's in office, because God only knows they want that White House. And like I said, get the White House or die trying. Corruption defends corruption. You will know them by their fruit. When people show you who they are, believe them. Stop the steal. Keep coming back.
You airing it from the system. You know what I'm saying? You airing it from the system. You know, they are up and they are up and like this. What? What? You said what? Nah, man, they're not trying to hear that no more. Nah, They've been stealing, robbing, thieving the economy, using our tactics to get bare minimum. These people have been just using our tactics to come in here and get that bare minimum on paper, but then use the funding to basically fund their armies and fund their nation. They wouldn't even, they're not even sending the funding to where it's supposed to go at all. They're not sending it to the agencies at all. I mean, this is think of this. The feds is sending millions of dollars to the state government. The state government is supposed to oversee this funding, right? The state funding sets aside a certain portion to go to SNAP. And then you take that money or a nice big chunk of that money off of the SNAP benefits. You take it to where, and this is how, and this is, I see why they're quick to cut people off, quick to have people recertified, things like that. Oh, no, you can't get this much now. You be like, why you can't get this much? I was just getting this much last time. You be like, wow, see, this is what's going on. These people are funneling the money off to their people, off to the politicians and what have you, and calling on the federal government to send more funds. And the federal government is just sending it. It's like an automatic thing. They're just sending it. State is calling, they're sending it. It's not good. You didn't have a big microscope on these state agencies, figuring out what it is they're doing. No, you seeing this, and this is a great thing, and hopefully we're going to see a lot of this going on all over America. Minnesota right now is the poster child for this whole fraud shenanigans when it comes to SNAP benefits. And the thing is, if any of these states partook in any of these type of activities, it's so funny because they will not be able to change the books. So it's funny. So when the magnifying glass come over to the state, when the feds come to the state and ask them to open their books, they cannot, it's so funny because they never thought that there will be a time when the federal government will really crack down and be able, it's coming to time. It's coming to time. That time is here. That time is here. So, what's Cherry Dement said they must assimilate. If they don't, said they must assimilate, want to be great Americans like citizens like you and I. If they want to be great citizens like you and I. Right. And Sherry also said, in the case of Minnesota and Omar and Tim, the tampon governor, you don't think there was kickback? Of course. You cannot, of course, this is what, again, I'm attached to politics. I know what they do. This is what they do. And I'm laughing, sitting back, just giggling with my popcorn, like snickering, because I literally know what they do. And it's like God is playing it out on a massive scale so the world can see how it's actually done. Because you wonder, like, how do they actually steal government funding? I know sometimes you ask yourself that, like, how do they do that? This is one example. It's so many ways they do it, but they do it. You mean to tell me we now have a budget that has ballooned to $9 billion unaccounted for in Minnesota. And listen, Governor Walz didn't know how. He should be fired. If he's the general manager for our football team, he should be totally fired and disbarred from the NFL. How did you let this go on? You were not looking at your own books. The federal government sends them funds to the state, to the governor. The governor is the president of the state. Okay, the commander-in-chief, Donald Trump, is the president of the entire government, but of the federalized government. The states, the governor is the damn near like the commander-in-chief. This guy or gal is supposed to know what's going on within their departments and what's going on in their branch off departments. They must know what's going on. But at that amount, $9 billion unaccounted for, it's no way they're not getting kicked. Because, bruh, the man thought he was going to be president. The man thought he was going to be he knew for a good while that he thought that he was going to be president or running for president. They don't just, he knew for a good while. And not even that, these Democrats had such a grip. Donald Trump has uprooted so much already. We talking about, and he has just been in there 1 year. Do you see the mass fraud? Oh, no. So the Africans are that smart to come in here and get all of that done? No, that's not. No. The Africans are that. No. They're not that smart to come in here and understand how this system works and get it. No. How? How are you making, how are you making money off of those SNAP benefits if it's not some form of a politician manipulating the funds? How $9 billion unaccounted for? They say upwards and beyond. So it's not stopping at $9 billion. This is And this is a small state. Unbelievable. And it's small. It's not like this is, I'm saying, I can imagine what's going on in somewhere like LA. The kickbacks and it's just, man, come on, bro. Black girls are standing up.
Oh, so I finally get it now. So my president is choosing not to meet back with the. This is just my opinion, though. TikTok, don't get to tripping. But Trump choosing not to meet back with the Democrats on negotiating again because I finally get it now. So my president is choosing not to meet back with the. This is just my opinion, though. TikTok, don't get to tripping. But Trump choosing not to meet back with the Democrats on negotiating again because this Obama shit about to expire at the end of the year within a few months. So it's like we're gonna have to tough it out within a couple months so that it can just expire on its own. You feel me? And the Democrats ain't gonna have no choice because you feel me? Either way it go, the shit is gonna be done, and we only have to suffer just for a little bit. So y'all, the American people, I need y'all to stand tall. I need y'all to be strong and support our president through this time because he's doing a damn thing. Hell yeah. Oh,
you hear the sisters speaking up. They speaking up. You know what I'm saying? You know, they are. They starting to understand what's going on. They starting to, the illusion is starting to break up, right? And it's really such a pleasant thing to see. You know, it's for me. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, you used to say Donald Trump in the black neighborhood before. It was like you were saying something that was totally alien. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't that they had smoke for Trump. It was just like, nah, I don't for Trump. Man, I ain't. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just didn't, because of the messaging that was coming from their people and what they were seeing online, and we're like, what did he do? We're just asking ourselves, what did he do? What? He didn't do nothing to you. You believe in this? Nah, I'm so glad to see that our people are standing up, speaking out, not letting these people trick them anymore. You know, you know what I'm saying? It is a beautiful, beautiful thing to see, man. I am telling you, man. Check it out. They have malls in Somalia. They have malls in Minnesota, and they have streets named after Somalia, and they're literally attempting to carve out their own city within a city, right? So, but the thing is, you would say to yourself, well, why are you hating? You know what I'm saying? If they want to build a mall and they want to build their own community, let them, right? All right, okay. But the thing is, will they allow you to go shop in their mall? That's the thing. Will they allow you to go shop in their mall? Thank you so much for that. Let me see what that was. Alpha. Alpha Specs, I salute you. Thank you so much. Thank you kindly. You know what I mean? Let's check this out real quick.
We next visited the massive open-air Somali Mall just a few miles away where we had a little snack. So we're pulling up on the Somali Mall in the area, the Carmel Mall, which is the largest Somali mall. The Carmel Mall was massive. These shots simply don't do it justice, and this footage probably won't do the overwhelming sense of alienation we felt inside it justice either. All right, so we're going to go inside the Carmel Mall, which is fashioned after an open-air Somali bazaar. There's a fashion store here, some jewelry, totally different style of mall here. You get the henna stand over here. The scale of this mall is enormous. It makes sense that there are about 80,000 Somalis in Minnesota. The vast majority of whom are in this area. So right at the end of this mall, by the way, we have
within our community, so we usually send money back home
for the less fortunate. So up there they have a money place you can send. Yes, I do. All right, so this is what he's talking about in the front, a place where you can easily send money back home or wherever. Roughly 40,000 Minnesotans were born in Somalia, so many are still in close touch with
Slumdogs said, absolutely Walsh is in cahoots. How couldn't he be? Of course. Yo, Layla. Layla. What's up, girl? Layla, what's up? Yo, Alpha, what's happening, Alpha? Yo, Calvin, what's happening?
With their families back home. The link between Somalia and Minnesota can't be overstated. The president of Somalia often visits, and some Somali politicians live in the Twin Cities like the parliamentarian.
Dog, you can't make this stuff. You can't make it up. The president of Somalia often visits.
Roughly 40,000 Minnesotans were born in Somalia, so many are still in close touch with their families back home. The link between Somalia and Minnesota can't be overstated. The president of Somalia often visits, and some Somali politicians.
So 40,000 of this 85,000 people were born in Somalia.
The way you have it marked. Within our community, so we usually send money back home to the less fortunate. So
you heard him? He said it. He said we usually send money back to our home for the less fortunate. That is that right there causing inflation right there. What are you talking about? You cannot argue that. If you are American and you can't argue that. Listen, man, I'm pissed off. I'm pissed off, all right? You wanna know why? Because milk is all sky high. Milk is sky high. I don't like that. Me personally, I don't like that. I love my milk. All right? I don't like that. Okay? But this guy that you just seen is helping participate in the inflation and the high-end prices that's going on to these everyday common products that we normally use. Just like eggs. Eggs is $8 right now. $8 for a carton. $8. Yo, you can't make this up.
Up there they have a money place you can send back home. All right, so this is what he's talking about in the front, a place where you can easily send money back home or wherever. Roughly 40,000.
You can send the money back home. They have the institution set up for you. Bro. This is a freaking world scam. This is a freaking United States damn feed the world scam, bro. This is crazy when you look at this and think about it.
Thousands of Minnesotans were born in Somalia, so many are still in close touch with their families back home. The link between Somalia and Minnesota can't be overstated. The president of Somalia often visits, and some Somali politicians live in the Twin Cities like the parliamentarian we interviewed later.
Now, the last time I checked, eggs were $8. Now, if they went down, that's cool, wherever you at, right? But in New York, eggs are super, super high. So I don't know where you're at right now. All right. But that was literally when Biden was in office, is what I'm saying. Okay. For sure, eggs were $8 and they were going up. You know what I'm saying? Milk was sky high, So Donald Trump you're going to see the fruits of his labor regarding the pricing coming down and much more. Let's go.
Later. I would say in all the reporting we've done, this is one of the most difficult spots to get an interview. People are very guarded here. I don't know if it's because they assume there's a hit piece or they simply don't want to talk at all. People have been extremely guarded, and in some cases a little hostile. Look, we continue to walk around the Carmel Mall when, as if we weren't out of place enough already, a cop came to escort us to building management.
Okay.
Yeah, it's we do this all over the country. Yes, I told the camera. You saw the camera? Yeah. So where's the YouTube? Where's the news? ROCA News. All right, so we were just pulled aside by security. Now we're okay, though, to film inside. So one interesting thing is when a store is unoccupied, people won't necessarily lock it. We've seen a lot of unattended to stores. There's clearly like a high trust community here, and we're the only two white guys in all 4 floors of this. It's very unique. So here's an open eating area, Somali flag, and Palestine flags. So they got a couple new style of pizzas I've never seen. The odd cut pizza. I don't know how to say that. The Elib Jakal, a la Makan. Different kinds of pizza. So behind us on the rooftop of the cafeteria, you can see the Somali flag. Some people, at least on social media, talked about how it's very similar to the new Minnesota flag. And so they wondered if there might have been some overlap there. Others say that's ridiculous. But that was a topic of conversation.
A couple recent polls, somewhere around half of Minnesotans said they wanted to keep the old flag.
We then interviewed a woman entrepreneur from Somalia who had some fascinating insights.
I moved from Sweden 5 years ago. What brought me? I came here because there was already a Somali community established. So I said, okay, let me go there so that I can start my business. Our community are like huge supporters for each other.
The white Americans around, are they friendly? Are they not?
I know none of them. When I was coming to America for the first time, I was carrying a Swedish passport and I was black and hijabi, you know? And the officers in the immigration, they were like, they probably were expecting a Viking. That's what America stands for. Like everybody's segregated in their own community. White people are with white people. Somali people are with Somali people. That's what America is. You come here, you start your own community, and you stay with your community. So people normally in America like are not very fond of strangers. I think they just don't want to speak with somebody that don't share maybe the same beliefs. It's helping each and every Somali person. We have over 600 businesses, and 95% of those businesses are women businesses. But what I can tell you, Somali women are those who build the entire Somali.
Is there a conflict between Ilhan Omar's progressive views and conservative Muslim teaching?
When it comes to us, basically my view, no. But then I don't know how somebody else can view her. I just applaud her. We love her, like as Black African.
Yo, the thing is, you know, they have to basically, you know, let them know, listen, these are white guys that's coming in, they want to film, and, you know, they want to, listen, they're not going to let these people not go through. But if these were some people that were regular, average people that wanted to actually go there and shop, you know, obviously they would have been blockaded, obviously. And, you know, the thing is, again, these people are coming in to do their duty for them and their people. Okay. This woman just said, you know, you have what, she said something like 95% of the Somali women, you know, are, you know, establishing businesses or something to that magnitude, if I heard that right. But I mean, that's because you can't do that back in your homeland, right? You know, this is the thing, you know, but they're coming over here and they're taking full advantage of what it is that we have for benefits for the American citizens and the luxuries that we have. And it's amazing when you think about the luxuries that we do have here in America. You know what I mean? So, you know, you cannot sit back and literally attempt to call us, you know, racist and call us bigoted and, you know, no, bro, especially you're not calling the Black community that, because we do not be bothering nobody. We make our music, we run our businesses, we take care of the community, we take care of our children, family, right? We don't bother nobody. If we conflict, it's a lot of internal conflict with the family, right? You know, with the Blacks. You know, Blacks are not attempting to go into other ethnic groups, you know, towns and cities and attempt to disturb with that. You know, they ain't attempting to do that and run, you know, and bring war to their city and town, you know, attempt to change their flag. And, you know, come on, bro. This is absurd. You're attempting to change the flag and, you know, you want to change the law. And, you know, Governor Hochul doesn't want to ban Sharia law. You know, come on. You know, what are we doing here? We cannot afford to allow Sharia law to come anywhere near our land. Dearborn is far enough, and I'm upset that they even have that there. Okay, I'm not liking that because we are not going to start a trend of that. Just understanding what these sanctuary cities are lining up to do. That right there. That one. No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. Okay, that one I didn't see that one coming. Meaning, I didn't see where you would have prayer calls going off in the middle. I didn't see where that would be permitted here in America. I did not see that coming. And they snuck up on us. They snuck up on us politically with their new agenda. And that's not the battle of the bullet. It's the battle at the ballot. Okay? So we are going to stand up. We are going to understand what's going on with our legislature, what's going on with our city councilmen and women, and the mayor. Okay? We need to know how these people are playing. And also, we have to start breaking up the Democratic parties in your local cities. That right there is another problem. That's actually the most important. The Democratic Committee on the ground floor in your local community is more, in my opinion, more influential and powerful than your state politicians, right? Because your state politicians are depending on your local politicians to mobilize the people on a ground roots level, on a grassroots level. They're dependent on them, right? Just like in the army or in the military, right? The general is dependent on the four-bird colonel. All right, the four-bird colonel is on the ground. Okay, he's dependent on the four-bird colonel to get the reports, and then the general will make educated decisions from there. Okay, but your Democratic committee in your local city is absolutely at fault for all of this. We have to break that up. That's important. You must get those people out of there right now. You must learn how to run for, seat. You run for a seat in the Democratic committee. You must start learning this. You must. You can look it up, pull it up, see what you must do. And this is what you got to do. You cannot be screaming at Donald Trump like he can help you like that. All right? You can't be screaming, especially, really, if you're living in a sanctuary city. Really. But even if you're not living in a sanctuary city, you can't be screaming at Donald Trump. You have to be screaming at your local politicians. They are the ones that control things. It's not, they are the ones controlling things. They are the ones setting laws within your city and your state legislature. Okay? That's what's going on. That's what's up. Personally, them's tears taste good. Said, personally, after my stint in the service, I hoped I never had to smell another Somali. Yo, I salute you, dog. Cause I know that must have been really, really tough, right? I don't think I am. I'm going to look at Black Hawk Down tonight. Cause that's the sense I get that you just can't stand. Because when I think about those Somalis, right? I used to think, right, like, damn, I ain't gonna front. I used to think like, damn, I don't want, what I'm saying, the Americans to go over there and hurt those people. This is what I was thinking when I first came into not understanding what was really going on because I haven't researched, in depth like I know now on what's happening. But I used to think like, damn, I don't want, what I'm saying? Like they over there. Damn, why are they over there? What happened? All right, why is America even over there? Then I wanted to understand and I'm like, oh, okay. But even then, I didn't really get a good understanding, and I'm still like, damn. But then I don't want the Americans. That's my people over there. damn, because, you know, you got, you know, black service members over there also, black U.S. service members over there also under fire, right? And I'm like, damn. And you have the white U.S. service members under fire. And I'm like, damn, because I am pro-America no matter what. But I ain't want these black people or so-called black people, what I thought at the time, like these Somalians over there, like, damn, I didn't want them. And then when I started to understand more and more, I felt like, hold on, these people are really the enemy. Hold on. These people are really, really, really the enemy, right? I started to understand that just because they might have the same color skin as me, I'm like, hold on, these people are not my kin, like for real, right? Because look, thank you so much for that. Let me see. Maximo, thank you so much for that. I appreciate that so much, man. Thank you kindly. Thank you. You know, I started to look at Black Hawk Down like, yo, nah, I wouldn't want those people that look like me to be over here doing something like that. I started to think like, hold up. And then I'm like, hold on, the white people, just because white people look like each other doesn't mean that they're all together. Look, they are battling, white people are constant, America and Russia, right? I mean, there's a battle. Like, so certain white people, they're going to look at you like what? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not American. You know what I'm saying? Like, looking at you funny, like, and these white people in America, like, you know, they're different. They're not like the white people outside of America. Just like the black people here in America are not like any other group that I can think of, bro. I can't think of no other group outside of America like Black America. I can't think of it. I can't think of one. If you know one, put one in the chat because I can't think of one that moves like Black America. I don't know. You know, seriously. And please don't give me the jokes with the stereotypes because that's a little bit tired. You know, but let's if you want to get to the facts and get to the paperwork, we can do the paperwork. You know, because I don't see nobody moving like Black America on paper or swag or anything. You know, I just don't see it. You know, the white people in America, I don't see the white people outside of America moving like the white people in America. Like I don't see it. They're sharper. The whites in America are sharper. You know, they're quick. They're savvy. You know, they got swag. I think, you know, and because these whites done been around us, they, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, we dripping swag over here in this country. Now swag just go all over the world. You know, this swag, this American swag, what makes America, this white and black fight back and forth with one another. It makes, but you know, we have so many differences with one another. But one difference, it's not one difference, one common theme that we all subscribe to is that we will not allow anybody non-American to attack America. We are not with that. We not with Americans attempting to really attack. You know what I'm saying, tackle America. Look at this is the fight that we're in right now with these radical leftist Democrats. Okay? This is what these people are literally radical. That is not some talking point word. And again, I must stress, I have been in politics. I cannot stress to you enough how devious, and I mean treacherous, these people are within the political realm. I cannot stress to you. I cannot stress to you how devious they are. They make Diddy look like a choir boy. These people make Diddy look like a choir boy. All right? I'm very serious about that. It's a gang. It's a clique. It's very, very frustrating, man. It really, really is. I just seen a video. Christopher Yates said, I just seen a video of that in Minnesota. They stole over $20 billion. You're right. See, we just saw 18 million, right? Could have been a combined 18 million. And now see upwards of 20 billion. Look, it's going up and up, and that's what they're saying. They're still investigating. What they're saying that this is just the tip of the iceberg. This is what they're saying. They don't know the actual numbers yet. You know what I'm saying? 20, 20 billion. Yeah, that's the number right now. For right now, you know, Christopher said, if America was to be invaded, I would stand shoulder to shoulder with anybody. Exactly. And this is the thing. If you have 180 million immigrants, 180 million, y'all, and especially for my black people, 180 million against you 43 million black people here in America. What are we talking about here? That's just totally against you. Just even though we've been through ginormous situations like that, but it's not to this degree right here, right? Right? I mean, no, not to where they want to, strip you of your voting rights or right in front of you. You can't do, you know what I'm saying? You're not ready to give that up. You're not ready to give up your freedoms. You're not ready for that. They are fighting like cats and dogs out there in the UK. Hold on, I want to show you this. Hold on. Let me show you something. Hold on one second. Yeah, let me see. I want to show you something. All right, hold on, check this out. Yeah. All right, all right, all right. I'll get to that later. All right, I'll get to that. I wanted to show you this video. I'll get to it later.
Imagine being able to build anything just by
check this out.
thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete AI
pulled over by ICE. Now, her son is, well, I was about to say her son is a legal immigrant to the United States, but A, who the agents actually pulled over your son on Saturday and asked him to prove his citizenship. He is. Here's the birth certificate. Everyone knows it at this point. Like, and they're just the federal immigration agents actually pulled over your son on Saturday and asked him to prove his citizenship. He is, of course, a U.S. citizen, as are you. One place that is not fine is Minneapolis. They have a representative named Ilhan Omar, who's a wildly anti-American lunatic. She went on Wolf Blitzer's program on CNN, and apparently she's made up a story that her son was pulled over by ICE. Now, her son is, well, I was about to say her son is a legal immigrant to the United States, but A, who the hell knows? And her mom did marry her brother for immigration purposes, so I'm not sure how that affects the kid, but I assume he was born here in the United States. The point is, here she is. She's a bullshit artist. Wolf's an idiot. Watch. You've said that federal immigration agents actually pulled over your son on Saturday and asked him to prove his citizenship. He is, of course, a U.S. citizen, as are you. The Department of Homeland Security says, and I'm quoting them, ICE has absolutely zero record of its officers or agents pulling over Congresswoman Omar's son, and have accused you of seeking to, quote, demonize ICE as part of a PR stunt, their words. What do you say to that?
Well, if ICE is saying that they have documentation of every single person that they have pulled over in Minneapolis, we would love to see that record because we've certainly, myself and the governor, have been asking them to share information with us on the ways in which they have interacted with Minnesotans, and they have not been able to provide a single information. So it is amazing that they're able to put out this statement saying definitely that they did not pull my son over when they haven't been able to answer anything else.
Have you noticed that her accent is getting a little more guttural as she smiles through all her lies? Like there's something weird going on there. Now, interestingly,
yo, bro, you can't. This stuff is getting rockier and muddy by the day. I mean, you can't. This lady is just. This is called political fluff. But what's beautiful is the opposition to Ilhan knows exactly what she's doing, and they're just catching her in her lies. It's so beautiful that somebody would fact check if her son did actually get pulled over. You know what I'm saying? So, this is just an unfortunate thing that we have to deal with. But I'm telling you, man, it's frustrating. I'm waking up thinking about it, and it's just very, very frustrating, man. To have to deal with. And what's frustrating is it's like you people you're supposed to be so wise and full of wisdom, and it's like, how don't you understand and know what this country is about? Like, I don't understand. How do you come in and disrespect and act as arrogant as you are? If you want a real war, like, let's do it. Like, say something. Like, come on. You know what I'm saying? We're going to challenge you every step of the way in all of your beliefs that you wish to inflict into our society. We're going to challenge you. So, you might as well just put your dukes up. You might as well just, let's get it on. You know what I'm saying? Because that's going to happen here in America. That's going to happen. If America was, I'm hoping somebody gets arrested or Tim Walz. One of them is they're going to have to get arrested. I don't know how they're going to wiggle out of this one. I don't see Tim Walz. I don't see 20 billion unaccounted for out of all of their agencies. 20 billion. 9 billion unaccounted for specifically for their SNAP program. I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see these people walking free, man. I don't see these people walking free. You know what I love? That, the blacks are waking up everywhere right now. You know, they really, really are. You know, and it's so beautiful that they're starting to get more and more attentive, or be more and more attentive to the realm of politics and what's going on. Let's check
that's
this out
just
real
what they're
quick.
calling for.
Yeah,
and
well-
that's are they really wrong for that? I mean, these people stole billions of dollars. Zoran, you know, he hasn't done anything wrong yet, so I'm gonna spare him, bring him in this conversation. But yeah, no, that's gonna be a very interesting thing, because if you think that they're pissed about this ICE shit, this is about to send them over the edge. Oh my gosh! If anyone gets denaturalized and deported, it's gonna get wild.
And this
is going to get wild.
It is. This is what I have a problem with.
The answer is that this is not about drugs. This is about regime change. And we also have the White House Chief of Staff on record saying that this is about regime change. It has nothing to do with drugs. I rise today in strong support of this resolution. I am proud to co-lead Ranking Member Meeks's effort and urge all of my colleagues to join us today in reasserting this body's constitutional authority on matters of war and peace. Because let's be perfectly clear, only Congress has the power to declare war. The Trump administration's military escalation in the Caribbean is not only reckless, it is blatantly illegal. We cannot allow this kind of dangerous overreach to go unchecked. Trump, a president who touts himself as a global peacemaker, has appointed himself as judge, jury, and executioner in the Western Hemisphere. This brutal military campaign, which has killed more than 90 people, further threatens a region that has already been destabilized by decades of U.S. intervention. And it risks driving us into further war in Venezuela.
Let me tell you something, idiot. The people that have died literally were in the boat with the drugs.
Driving us into further war in Venezuela.
Let me tell you something, idiot. The people that have died literally were in the boat with the drugs.
Yeah, so the thing about the drugs is a lot of the fentanyl is coming from China. We've seen no action taken against China. I do also believe that there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in Venezuela. I've seen some videos of Venezuelans in favor of the help that Trump is offering. And I've seen a lot of liberals in opposition to this in America. So honestly, I haven't really looked into it that much, but I don't think we should go to war with any foreign country. I think if we did go to war with Venezuela, really we wouldn't be much of a war. We just go in there and blow some shit up. Like they can't.
All they got to do is stop the cartel.
But the problem is
nothing for the U.S.
Yeah, China saying, yeah, they're back. Iran and China said they're back in Venezuela.
Bro, the fentanyl is coming from China.
That's true.
All of the fentanyl ingredients is coming from China.
American people,
yeah, but but how you gonna, yo, bro?
Has been clear.
What I don't like, Mr. Man, I respect my brothers and all that, but I mean, dude, you just admitted you didn't do the research on Venezuela. You just admitted you didn't do the research on Venezuela. So how are you just gonna put out to your following? Yeah, you know, no, it's just China. Okay, if it's just China with all of the ingredients, what, China is not selling their product to other people? What, I don't, they're not selling it to other nations? You don't think Venezuela, you don't think these Venezuelans have the know-how to, you know, or to know how to get the ingredients to make these type of chemicals and put them together? You don't think they don't know how to put them together, or these type of compounds to put together to form this fetty? This is like what we call it. You know, these people know what they're doing. They're extremely sophisticated. Okay, and the thing is, you know, it's like, oh, I hear that. Oh, well, why he's not messing with Mexico? He is messing with Mexico. We damn near got boots to the ground on Mexico. We are at war right now with Mexico on the low. We got drones flying right now. You know what I'm saying? We are sending drones, rockets being detached from the drone onto the soil of the Mexican soil. You know, it's crazy, man. We are not playing, bro. The drug game here in America has went up to another level. It is a war level. All right, and it's actually absolutely, it was internal, but thank God has closed the borders, so it's not as easy as it was before, right? You know, with the overflow of, you know, drugs that's coming in. But it's not just the drug, it's the fentanyl that's coming in. And now they're creating some new drugs that's hot, you know, that's even worse than that fentanyl right now, that they're attempting to smuggle in, right, to turn these people into zombies, right? These people don't care. They just want to get high, right? They don't care. If they can get even higher, they don't care, right? You know, you got to understand that, you know, so, you know, as far as Ilhan, man, you know, she's going, they're talking about Venezuela. Let me show you something about that real quick, since we on that topic right now, real quick. Because, you know, people don't, you know, they need to, all right, so take a look at this clip about Venezuela real quick. This is quick.
Government in Venezuela, its days are numbered. So the Maduro government, the communist government in Venezuela, its days are numbered. So the media says. In other words, Donald Trump is trying to put pressure on Maduro and get rid of him because he canceled the last election through fraud. And then we've had, in addition, about 7 or 8 million Venezuelans leaving. And he not only sends drugs to the United States, he organizes the cartels and helps them in other adjoining Latin American countries. And he emptied his jails and prisons and said, go to the United States, basically cause as much havoc. So we have grounds to want him out. Should we invade? That's another question.
The thing is, we put Trump in there to clean up America. That's what we did. We went for the gusto. We are not playing around. Okay? If Maduro is helping, you know, with the push in this epic invasion of America right now, we have to tend to that. It ain't no questions asked. It ain't no questions asked. We did not put Donald Trump in office to just mess with anybody for any reason. You know, and as far as what I can see, I do not see that. I'm not being racist or biased. I do not see anything that Donald Trump is doing right now offensive to America. I don't. I just don't see anything everything that he's doing right now. I am checking, you know, like, yes, yep, check. That's what we want. We want that. You got to push. We didn't put Kamala Harris in, right? We didn't do that. We didn't want that. We don't want no socialist ideology and agenda here. We don't want the communist agenda here. So you can steal money, because that's all you do. You put up affordable housing, but at the end of the day, you're paying higher property tax. Your rent is going higher, right? I mean, it's not good for Americans. Their agenda is not. It's not. You know, Slick Nick, I like that name. Slick Nice said true. Shaggly Back Alley Cat said, get Alzheimer's Cheeto Daddy get Alzheimer's Cheeto Daddy out of office. Them tears taste good. Said one session and none of them would want to come. One session and none of them will want to come. Yo, Dominique Roja Said, what up, bro? I'm great. I'm feeling great, feeling good. You know, I'm seeing a lot more of my black women, you know, starting to stand up and understand what's going, because they're going to stand up. I'm not worrying about that. What I have been concerned about was my black women getting the proper messaging that they need, right? Because they have not been getting the proper messaging as of late, all right? It's been a big game psyop that has been ran on them, and I'm so glad it's being broken up right in front of our eyes. You know, look at Jasmine Crockett out there scrambling right now. She's out there pouting and bowing down and begging for the Latino vote because she know it's up for the black. She can't even go out there and beg to the black women any longer. Why are you not begging to the, because the black women are waking up. They're following their men. The men are waking up. The men are like, nah, bro, we not with that. The black men are stone cold. I have been talking to a lot of black men lately. They are starchly on code right now. They are not, no, they're not with the agenda of the Democrats. They're not with the agenda of bringing in these foreign invaders. They're not with this Islamic agenda and bringing in Sharia law. We're not with it. We're not with it. And the thing is, what I'm loving is they're beginning to start standing up about it. And I can't wait till we start beginning to protest, fighting these damn protests that's fighting ICE, right? We're going to have to start, something's going to have to give. You know what I'm saying? Just like when blacks go out there and they protest, right? The blacks go out there and protest, and then you have like some of these white faction of, you know, white groups come out there and attempt to push against. Hey, we're going to have to start doing that with these immigrants right now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we be doing our battle internally, but that's internal. You know what I mean? That's what we do. You know what I mean? But we always seem to come to some form of a resolution. You know what I'm saying? Which is, it's just, you know, it's just a unique thing. I find it very unique, opposed to what I have been reading about how, you know, whites and blacks have been functioning together in the past. You know what I'm saying? And it's very unique how we've been functioning, even now with all of the differences that we do have. But we still functioning, you know, and we still like, nah, we don't want people to be coming in there and invading us, making our milk prices go up, and you know what I'm saying? No, bro, we're not with that. No, we don't want that. We do not want that. No, we tired of it, man. We just simply tired of it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to I want to talk to Tucker Carlson real quick. I don't agree with everything with Tucker Carlson, but the thing is, you know, again, whites and blacks, we don't normally agree on a lot of issues. But there's one theme that we all agree on, man. We are just not allowing, we don't care if we agree. Tucker not agreeing with us, we not agreeing with Tucker. We don't really care. All we care about is you people invading our damn territory and stealing from America. Pure Americans, we not with that. Claiming that you're American, claiming that you're black. I mean, we're tired. And you're now claiming that you're black only because this political intense political scrutiny is on your back right now. That's the only reason. But let's hear this real quick.
Were born with and the group into which you were born. If you thought that was a bad thing and you thought it would go away after 2024, well, surprise, surprise, it hasn't gone away. In fact, it's accelerated. And a lot of the conversation we have about it breaks along lines of, well, you know, I'm defending my group. I'm mad at your group. Let's have a debate about whether my group is good or bad. You shut up because you're criticizing my group. Okay. But if you think about it for a second, the debate itself is a sign of, well, impending collapse. Because no country, especially one that's the size of a continent that has hundreds of millions of people in it, can stick together unless there is a shared identity, a supra-identity, identity that looms over all other identities, that holds it together. It's not the force of law that holds countries together. It's the force of custom, the force of language, and the force of shared belief. What is it to be an American? It's not just a dopey academic question. It really is the question that without an answer will lead to the breakup of the United States, and possibly sooner than any of us expected. And there's no answer for that question right now. And so the question, the meta question is why? Why can't we decide on something as basic as what it is to be American? How did we get here? How did we get to a place where people are starting to see themselves in terms that have no reference point at all in a national identity? And you know over time where that's going. How did we get here? That's what's worth assessing. Now, one way into that conversation is the current debate over the Somali community, people from Somalia living in the United States.
Now,
and the reason...
now with Tucker, I've been listening to Tucker, right, for a little while, right? Tucker does not normally go off on people like that. He goes off, but he goes off in a certain way, in a certain tone, and he's very, he fine combs the wording that he chooses to use. But because we are understanding that this isn't a clear attack on America, this man is about to rip off Ilhan's head. I have never heard Tucker really go off like the way he's about to kind of go off. Let's go.
reason it's interesting to start there is because there aren't that many of them. They tell us there are about 260,000 in the country. Of course, it could be 10 times that because we don't really know who lives here. And millions upon millions of immigrants have fake identity documents. Flash one of those at the airport, Mr. American citizen, and you'll go right to jail as a terrorist. But illegal aliens, of course, get to fake all the birth certificates and social security cards and other IDs they want, and they've been somehow indemnified, which again is part of the problem. But anyway, there are about, we think, 260,000 Somalis in the United States, and famously, they are two things. Not very successful. The majority, the overwhelming majority, in fact, almost all of them are on assistance of some kind, welfare of some kind, and poor. Over 50% of all Somali kids are in poverty. That compares to about 8% of native-born Americans. So this is one of the poorest groups in the United States. They're also one of the newest arrival groups. There were about maybe this is just a guess, but there were about 2,000 Somalis in the country in 1990 during the first Bush administration. None. You never met a Somali. You never knew anyone who had. You had no opinions on Somalis because where's Somalia? Africa somewhere? Answer, yeah.
Exactly. So what makes these people, as Ilhan Omar likes to shout out, the fabric of America? How are they the fabric of America? Why would you even shout that out? These people are totally just on a whole nother channel, a whole nother frequency. I mean, we're on Fox News right now, and like they are on some Spanish channels. Like, where you at? You're not even on the English channel right now. Like, do you understand what's going on right now? How could you, why would you even say, you didn't have, your speechwriter, or you didn't have anybody around? No, I don't think you should say that right there. I don't know. You're a fabric of America. I don't think, nobody told you that. Like, that goes to show you don't have no Americans around you advising you, Ilhan. None. Because you would not utter that out your mouth. You're a fabric of, bruh, we didn't know a Somali. Damn it, when I was 4 years old, when I was about, when I was 1 year old, or let's say when I was conscious of what was going on. Shit, when I was 7, 8, there were no Somalis here, at all. This is an invasion, y'all. And again, you hear me, I'm talking about it. I'm a Black American, and you got this guy over here, he's a white American. And we're on like talking about the same thing, and we're not attempting to cozy up and be kumbaya, but we're like, nah, bro.
Answer, yes. But all of a sudden, in the subsequent 35 years, there are hundreds of thousands of Somalis, and they are, and this leads to the second thing we know about Somalis, they are clustered together.
What's up, Juliana?
They have not assimilated, as we say. Of Somalis who've lived here at least 10 years.
What's up, Juliana? Yeah, them tears taste good. Them tears taste good. Yeah, yeah, YouTube did that. YouTube ate those words.
Most still can't speak fluent English because they don't need to, because they live around other Somalis and they don't have to learn it or learn critically what ties this country together beyond clan or tribe. So they're clannish and they're poor. And they are also beloved by Democratic politicians.
You think? Of course.
I can help anyone, no matter their experience level, to build a wildly profitable.
So those are the three things we know about Somalis. And then recently we learned that in both Minnesota and the state of Maine, which is the two states in this country where they are concentrated, outside Minneapolis and within Minneapolis and in Maine and Lewiston and Portland, they have committed apparently, and by they, we mean literally they, as a group, speaking their language, communicating only with each other, massive multi-billion-dollar Medicaid fraud. Medicare fraud. So we know that, and that scandal is just broken, and the president has weighed in on it.
This is crazy.
He's against it. We shouldn't have any Somalis, he says. And Democrats, of course, have pivoted back against Trump 180 degrees. No, Somalis are what made this country great. They built this country. We wouldn't have a country without Somalis. They built Minneapolis,
they saying that.
Ladies and gentlemen. We used to have a Somali on the $1 bill, or the digital version. The programmable digital currency we're about to give you should be Somali related. And of course, all the politicians are singing the Somali national anthem, right, waving Somali flags, and all of a sudden being Somali is like the essence of what it is to be American.
The thing, what the freak is waving Somali flags at political events here in America. Waving Somali, I'm talking about running for office, waving the Somali flag. This man should have been walked off and walked right into jail, bro. That's, we got to get strict, bro. I mean, bro, nah, bro, it's just certain things you just can't be doing, bro. You know, you just can't be certain. I know after that, you know, the FBI on him, like, you know, you just can't be doing that. And that dude, that was Omar Fatah doing that. I'm unsure if people are stupid or what, but anyone remember how Rome fell? Every country country since has faced that problem. Well, shit, damn it. Our name ain't Rome. And we ain't giving a damn about Rome. Okay? Right now. We are America. Okay? This ain't Rome. And don't be trying to put that on us. So we rocking and rolling. All right? Because the ship of the black man will not fall. All right? It could have fell a long, long time ago. It could have fell a long time ago. And it did not. It only kept getting better and better and better. We will win. We will win. We winning now that we're getting this information out, that we're conversing about it. We're talking about it. The algorithms is you know, we're constantly pounding the algorithm about this. We're winning. UK got slept, you know, was sleeping and they got crept up on. Sweden got crept up on. Japan got crept up on. Germany, they say Germany is damn near gone. It's damn near gone. It's damn near Islamic. They have problems over there in Germany. The problem is those white people outside of America, you know, a lot of them look to the white Americans. They, you know, they might not admit it, but they do, you know, and we see what's happening right now. And what I like is here in America, black and white America at the highest level, you know, are not having it. We're not with this. We will not capitulate, not one iota. It's not happening here in America. It can't happen here in America. America will not fall. Maybe the old ideologies or certain ideologies is going to fall, but it's It's not going to be the fall in which you think somebody or some other nation is just going to come in and gobble up America. And no, that's not happening here. That's not happening here. They attempted to do it before and it still couldn't happen. And we're still here. Black man is still here. They attempted to gobble this country up, eat it, spit it out, and spit out a whole new country, and it still couldn't be done. God still kept us here entrenched through immense battles and warfare and, immense pressure, and still kept us here. So therefore, I do not for 1 second believe that America will fall. That's not happening. That ain't happening. You new Kev, wait, Rome fell. Oh yeah, so the Muslim Patreon plan, brother. What he said? Oh, so them Tears Taste Good said the Muslim nation has that plan, brother. Yeah, I know. And and they plan to take over America. They plan to take over pretty much the whole world, and their plan was 100 years that they would be able to complete this plan in 100 years, and they said that they are 50% complete. So, we understand what's going on. Knowing is half the battle. Americans are ahead of the game. We are fighting tooth and nail. We would not have the government in the shape that it's in right now if it wasn't for people like me and you that's on this live right now. It would not be in the shape that it's in. We are holding this country together. We are putting to the side our differences when it comes to race and what we believe in politically and everything. We have put that to the side. Especially when you are going for Trump, right? It even took a lot of the hardcore right. It's not like they took the Trump fast. They didn't take the Trump all that fast. You don't understand. Trump came in there and had to battle all type of groups and people and their politician gangs that's attached to that whole political network they got over there, on the right. You know what I mean? Trump had to go in there and bust it up. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just so glad that, instead of us busting up the Democratic Party and getting up in there, we're just deflecting we're fleeing from that party, right? We're fleeing from the party. We're not voting, but we have to change our strategy as far as blacks, because now us not voting is allowing these Muslims to vote, and they are putting their people in office. So now we're going to have to strategize. We're going to have to get back involved into politics. And I'm talking to the blacks on this one. Back. So, yeah. So we're going to have to get back involved in politics.
But neither one of them is really kind of explaining what this is. First of all, how did all these Somalis get here? And two, how did it go so very, very wrong? Is there something unique to Somali culture that has produced these disastrous results, probably the worst of any immigrant group in the United States? And there are hundreds and hundreds of different immigrant groups. Somalis right at the bottom. Maybe not the bottom. Maybe there's a less successful group, but they're definitely down there in the bottom 5%. Why? Well, the argument that some are making is Somalia's just a crappy country with a lot of dumb people, average IQ 80, and there will never be a successful Somali in the United States, and their religion is bad, and there's just something inherently bad about Somalis. And others are arguing actually they're the model citizens. But it's possible that decisions made in this country exacerbated what might have already been a problem. And the first is how they got here. So how do we get immigrants in the country? Well, traditionally, if you're an American, you assume that people come into this country, they're allowed into this country to fill a labor void. We need, stonemasons. Hey, there's a lot of skilled masons in Italy. Let's import them. And that's a lot of our Southern Italians to this day have ancestors from below Rome whose, skill was stonemasonry. So they came here and they built National Cathedral in Washington and a lot of other, New York Public Library and a lot of other things. That was the model for immigration for over 100 years. We need this. Let's find people who can do it. We don't have the right people. Let's bring them in. That's the idea behind H-1B.
What if you can create your own website by saying, this is what I want? With Wix, you can.
Which, of course, is not actually working as intended. But the Somalis we're talking about had nothing to do with that. There was not one economist in the United States who looked at the numbers, took off his glasses and said, you know, we need some Somalis and we need a No one ever said that because it's never been true and likely never will be true. The Somalis who live in the United States came here as refugees. So the assumption is if there's a problem in the world, the United States has a moral obligation. No one ever clarifies where this obligation comes from, but it's pre-existing. It's just in the Constitution somewhere, to bring that person and all of his relatives to the United States and pay for everything because that's who we are. So that's the idea. People dispute it. But it becomes mandatory the second the United States government intervenes into someone else's conflict. So the principle is called invade the world, import the world. At the tail end of every American intervention around the world, we import, with the help of the State Department, all kinds of NGOs, Catholic Charities and HIAS and all these different groups, we import, quote, refugees from the country in whose internal affairs we are tampering and whose citizens we have killed, sometimes in large numbers, since we bring them over. The Montagnards, the Afghan translators. So the Somalis got here because there was a Somali civil war in the early 1990s. The United States intervened in a limited way. And for doing that, got punished, and a number of Americans died. It was famously publicized in a book and then a movie called Black Hawk Down. You may remember that, in which Somalia, Mogadishu, its capital, was described as like the most barbaric place ever in the world. And so it was out of that that arose our obligation to bring in hundreds of thousands of Somalis. So again, it's not an accident when the United States intervenes or backs an intervention somewhere in the world. You can be certain the people from that country will be living in your zip code within 10 years. And that's exactly what happens. Somalia's not a huge country, so we only have hundreds of thousands. In other cases, we've got millions. And by the way, some have done fine, and some have done great. The Vietnamese did well. The Catholic Vietnamese did well. But whatever, that's how they got here, because of our foreign policy. So that's the first thing to know. The second thing to know is when they got here, and it's not just the Somalis, it's every group that's imported as a refugee, they were given way more free stuff than any American citizen receives.
There you go.
Period. And that would include housing vouchers and food stamps and supplemental income, of course, free education, free use of the emergency room. By the way, if you are wondering how our healthcare system is doing, all the emphasis on health insurance, go to the emergency room sometime over Christmas and see what you see.
Come on.
Someone who works here had a grandmother who wound up 2 nights ago.
Come on. Anybody who has been following me, the stream, you know I've been telling you. I said those same words. Go to a freaking emergency room. Go to the hospitals and look what is in there. I told you. Myself, I'm attached to the health community, and I am telling you, I see more immigrants than Americans in those hospitals dealing with those medical facilities. I mean, I'm telling you, no exaggeration. It's no exaggeration. Now, I can't tell you what the numbers. I can't say what the numbers is or anything like that. But with the eye, it's obvious. But me now listening to Tucker right here, I know it's confirmed. I know I'm not tripping, yeah, bro. They are overrunning everything, bro. I'm telling you, especially the healthcare system.
With a broken hip, and she spent 2 days in the hallway on a stretcher. They finally just gave her opioids to keep her from writhing because there was no room, because it was so packed with refugees and other migrants, economic migrants. So basically our healthcare system, our hospitals, the place where you go when you're sick, totally destroyed by this last wave of immigration. But if you're coming from Mogadishu, this is a massive upgrade. You may wait 2 days on a stretcher in the hallway, but at least you're getting medicine. So they come here.
Yo.
And
Tucker is pissed, just like us all of us.
The assumption is that they will.
We're all like we had it up to here with these people. We're done. We don't care. We don't care about you calling us. We tired of it. And you see, he went out there, Mogadishu, and Africa, and Black Hawk Down, and we got those people over here now, man. Send those people back, bro. Have any of you seen Black Hawk Down? Man, send those people back. Send those people back. I'm going to watch some Black Hawk Down tonight, and I know I'm going to be looking at these people with a side eye, like, no, So thank you all for coming on out, and I'm ending the stream. I thank you for stopping by. Make sure you smack that like button. Would be greatly appreciated. Smacking that like button is saluting America. And thanks for hanging out with the minister and driving with me through these YouTube streets. All right, I love you all except for the ones I don't. Peace.